Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and this video today is about how to properly warm up for a 1-rep max or at a contest. Now, I have seen a lot of people screw this up in the last 35 years of training and the last 25 years competing at all different levels, from the state level to the national level to the world level. So what I wanted to do today is kind of go over what you need to be doing the week before the meet in order for you to have the best results. Okay, so the first time that you're doing a meet can be really confusing. You got a lot of different people telling you to do different things. I've seen world-class coaches come into the facility and tell people to take openers 3 days out from competition, which is literally the most fucking stupid thing you can do. But that's neither here nor there, and that particular lifter bombed out the next day or two. It was unbelievable to watch. I saw the warm-ups and it was way too hard. You could tell she was way overtrained. It was just a bad scenario all the way around. So how do we fix that? Well, one key is to make sure that you understand that the week before a meet is all about recovery. The first thing about recovery is that you need to back down your training. And usually, if you're an intermediate or a beginner, 7 days is usually ideal. If you're advanced, you're probably gonna need anywhere from 10 to 14 days to fully super compensate from training. So what is super compensation? That's when the body's been training at a deficit because its energy level is reduced from the intensive training, and you're giving it a little bit of a break to bounce out of that level area of where you normally sit as far as energy and strength levels are concerned. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we hit that high peak right when we're going to max. So the trick to it is time it right before you're maxing and make sure that you have about 7 days if you're a beginner and 10 to 14 days if you're advanced. The first thing that we want to do is we want to increase mobility. So you know I'm a big fan of Wenning warm-ups. We use them all the time, but when we're getting ready to compete, we actually cut those out. And I don't talk a lot about that. It's one of those things that I've only really used on my apps to show people, or if they've been on personal online coaching where I specifically do it. But what we do is we basically go through band stretching, dynamic mobility, and then we warm up to a certain percentage, and we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But what I like to do is band stretch about 5 days out from competition. And this stretch is pretty rigorous. It's anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes of stretching hamstrings, glutes, low back, quadriceps, shoulders, anything you can think of. If you guys want to find a video on that, we have it on the membership part of the website, and you can walk through the entire thing that I used to do before breaking world records and the people do here at the gym. The next thing is we want to make sure we dial in the straight bar work, right? So if you're a beginner or intermediate, you lose touch with the weight training very quickly, and quickly by meaning probably within 2 to 3 days, your nervous system starts to readapt to not getting used to the straight bar. If you're advanced, you could take upwards of 2 weeks off from a straight bar, come in and just feel like second nature, and usually that takes about 10 years. But what I say is for most people, you don't want to back off of the bar any less or more than about 5 days out. So what you're going to see David do and you're going to see Jamal do is they're going to warm up to like 50%. They're going to warm up to 50% on the squats, they're going to warm up to 50% on the bench press, and they're going to warm up to 50% on the deadlifts. When they do this, they're only going to do this for a couple of rounds because we don't want to tell the central nervous system to get fatigued. What we're doing is increasing restoration and keeping the feel of the bar on their body, so when they get to the meet, everything feels like second nature. So really the best thing you can do is touch on the weights that you're trying to hit, but don't push yourself too hard. I find that 50% the week of the meet is ideal, about 5 days out. The next thing is you want to make sure you're recovering. So I make sure that they are trying to reduce their work. David's reducing his school. He actually called in sick the last 2 days to make sure that he was recovering. There's a lot of things that you need to be doing, and maximal strength plays a crucial role in recovery. Just day-to-day different focuses on either mental, physical, family stress can change your strength levels from up to 12 to 15%. And so what we want to do is maintain at least a steady state of low stress for this period. This is going to allow the body to only focus on that super compensation and get super strong. So a lot of people screw this up. They'll work all the way up till the day before the meet. They'll have a high stress job. They'll have family feuds because their anxiety's high for the contest. There's a lot of things that you just have to end up avoiding, and it all comes back down to recovery. So now that we got recovery out of the way, we need to talk about nutrition. Now, nutrition is another key aspect of keeping stress low, keeping digestion high and high quality. This is where selecting lean proteins, making sure that your carbohydrate intake, I believe, is mostly rice because it's easily absorbable and easy on the gut lining. You're trying to back away from eating any really shitty foods. And if you're probably at a certain weight class, you might have to be watching what you're eating. The best thing to do is lose the weight slowly through the last 3 to 5 weeks of training versus try to dump it all on the day of or the day before the meet, because usually most people can't get that back unless they're IVing or they're doing other types of drugs. And here we train drug-free with a lot of the clients, so we don't really get into that kind of shit. So what you need to do is, if you're 5 or 6 pounds overweight, try to lose about a pound every 2 to 3 days. Don't try to dump it all in 48 hours. I know people will talk about that all the time. And again, if you're not in it for state records or national records or world records, just go in and weigh what you weigh. You don't have to be in that weight class, because chances are you're probably not getting in the top 10 for any weight class you're going in. So it doesn't really matter. Now, if you're trying to break a world record or a coefficient total or anything of that nature, you're probably going to need to watch your weight and come in exactly what you weigh. But I find that most people, if they weigh 168 instead of 165 for that particular class, tend to do a lot better and have a lot more fun. So if you're into powerlifting to have fun and you're not even close to breaking records, do not try to cut weight. And that is the end of this video. Hopefully this saves you guys a little bit of stress and anxiety and gives you a little bit bigger totals in the future. Talk to you guys later.